Welcome to the Pussy Music Hour. I'm your host, Glenn Yarborough. Frodo, the Nine Fingers, and the Ring of Poon. I'm just kidding. It's your old pal Larry Dicko. This is Penis, the Penis Emperor.
Yes.
He wanted to dress up like the Emperor because I'm filled with so much hate.
Yes.
The terrible abomination that was The Hobbit 2. So he's gonna feed off my hate, right? You're not gonna shoot electric bolts out of your nuts and like fry me, are you?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. This movie it sucked goblin balls, did it not?
Yeah, it was goblin balls.
Goblin balls. We looked it up, and it did in fact suck goblin balls. Peter Jackson, who seemed to have a modicum of respect for the original Lord of the Rings books when he made the movies, has decided this time to take a giant shit all over the Hobbit book.
Sure, why not? I mean, just
And to prove my point, to illustrate my point, I have made a cartoon of Peter Jackson shitting all over the Hobbit book. Roll the cartoon.
roll tape. Roll it. Wow, he really did shit all over that book. He sure did.
Here it is again. One more time. Peter Jackson, the once anointed saint of nerd directors, has become the very thing that nerds hate. The guy who changes the source material and adds stuff to it because his ideas are obviously better than the original creator. I mean, of course The Hobbit needs a hot elf chick and an elf-dwarf love triangle. Of course.
I need that.
Of course, The Hobbit needs a 20-minute-long adventure park action scene with hobbits and barrels going down rapids while elves whip around, killing dozens of orcs in completely ridiculous ways.
Of course that happens.
Naturally. Of course The Hobbit needed a giant, ridiculous, overblown, absurd action scene at the end with a bunch of dwarves running around, throwing grenades, swinging on stuff, falling off cliffs, while Smaug the dragon clumsily stumbles around like your drunk mom on New Year's Eve. Of course it needed that.
Of course Legolas should have been one of the main characters of The Hobbit.
Of course. I mean, you know, since he's not in the book.
Not in the book at all. Of course he should be in the movie. Of course he should have
put
been
him
in The Hobbit. Duh, how can Tolkien forget to have put Legolas
He
in The
forgot.
Hobbit?
He forgot.
Of course Gandalf has to go on a big adventure and go to some ruins and fight a bald orc with one hand who was never in the book either, and then get into a ridiculous Final Fantasy style energy ball swirly bullshit wizard fight. Of course he had to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, what does Tolkien know? Peter Jackson knows best. I mean, what did Tolkien do besides write a couple of books that became the basis for all fantasy going forward? Did you ever play Dungeons & Dragons?
Yeah.
You did, okay.
Yeah.
Remember the first original basic Dungeons & Dragons? It was an elf, a human, a halfling, a dwarf, and a wizard. Does that sound familiar?
A little bit.
That is the Lord of the Rings. That's the quest group.
Yeah.
Tolkien laid the groundwork for everything we think of as fantasy in this modern age. But no. Penis Jackson knows best. He knows best. Fuck you, Penis Jackoff. Fuck you, you asshole. You piece of shit. You lowlife. You loser.
Yes.
How do you think you know better? How do you think you know it should have been in The Hobbit? How dare you? Shit all over that book.
Just let the hate flow through you.
Okay. Should I pick up something and strike somebody down with it, or what? You're so short. You scum. You have betrayed all of nerdkind. Yes. Peter, you used to be the guy who did the impossible. The guy who took the Lord of the Rings books and made them into a movie what many people thought could not be done. And you didn't just make him into a movie, you made him into great movies. And you respected the source material, the thing all nerds want, and the thing all Hollywood directors don't want to do. What happened to you?
Peter Jackson, I liked you better when you were fat.
Peter Jackson looks like he lives in the Shire. How could he fuck up The Hobbit so bad? All he had to do was make a nice, decent movie out of the book, The Hobbit. He's already made $1 gazillion from the first 3 Lord of the Rings movies.
Does he really need a gazillion more?
$1 gazillion!
That's a lot.
I mean, with the 3 movies, don't you think by the end The Hobbit's gonna start to drag on? By the way, pun. Dragon pun. Dragon pun. Dragon puns. How about making something substantial? Don't you think even you would have liked it better if you made just one nice, sweet Hobbit movie? Then when you're old, you can sit there in your chair, or you smoke your pipe, and think to yourself,
This is good pipe weed.
I did good with this movie. I did good. Instead, you'll sit in your chair and think, what did I do? What did I do? I honestly think as his career goes on, he will look back on this and be embarrassed. Do you think in our career we'll look back on the show and be embarrassed?
Well, probably. We'll come back to haunt us.
We're already embarrassed. I've already ranted and raved, but I haven't actually got to the bones of the matter. Just what exactly is wrong with this movie? Well, there's so much, I don't even know where to start. So I'll just do it bullet point by bullet point. Number 1.
It's the same shit you've seen in the last 4 movies, but worse.
Terrible CG. Some of the worst I've seen in any, laughable at times, especially the part where the giant tapestry falls. It's like it was like from a CG movie 10 years ago.
Characters like Legolas and Elf Chick get way too much screen time. They have nothing to do with the plot. They aren't in the fucking book.
They aren't in the book, but they're in this movie like the
Why the
whole
fuck are they there?
movie.
Gotta get some romance in there. You gotta have some romance.
It's
No,
like
you
a
don't.
romance.
No, you don't. You've established a
thing.
franchise. Everyone's gonna see the fucking movie. You don't need a fucking romance in
You
there.
don't. You don't need a romance.
Didn't need to happen.
We should have been dwarf on dwarf romance. Anyway,
That's
another
right.
thing.
Male dwarf on dwarf action is for me.
It's for anybody. It's family fun. The Legolas and the girl are so fucking ridiculously overpowered. I don't know why else even fear Mordor. Just send Legolas into Mordor. He can literally kill everybody and or surf on them or do something. The biggest offense of the entire movie are the unbelievable, and I mean that in the true sense of the word, unbelievable action scenes. The absurd, crazy, ridiculously terrible dwarves floating down the roaring rapids in the barrel scene was particularly god-awful.
Yeah.
The audience was laughing, not because it was funny, because it was so dumb no one could believe it. Imagine the worst scene you've ever seen in the dumbest CG kids movie, worst action scene, most unbelievable one you've ever seen, and crank it up 5 times. While these barrels are going down these rapids, which obviously they would have probably all drowned the first time, the elves are hopping, flipping, jumping, surfing on orcs back and forth and killing everybody along the way. At one point, one of the barrels falls off. I can't even remember what happened. It falls off a cliff, flips over 10 times, hits 5 orcs, falls back, and it ends up breaking, and the guy coming out of it with his arms, and then him spinning around. I can't even explain it. And then Legolas jumps on 2 of their heads and floats down the river. I was embarrassed for Peter Jackson. I was embarrassed. Episodes of the Power Rangers have more believable action scenes.
Michael Bay action scenes
Are more believable.
I don't believe that.
Believe it.
I do believe it, actually. And I'm personally really sick of Peter Jackson's terrible, super swoopy, fly down the thing, turn around, come back up the opposite way camera action. It's really becoming tiresome at this point. Then there's the calamity at the end, which is the dwarves fighting the Smaug dragon. It's like a fucking Monty Python skit gone wrong. There's 10 dwarves running around, swinging on chains, falling down giant holes, coming back up on different chains, pulling switches, melting gold, almost getting stepped on every single scene. And by the end of it, you're just like, what did I watch? When a character almost dies in a ridiculous way 20 times in 5 minutes, you start to not care. There's no tension. There's no sense of danger.
Yeah.
You know he's not going to die because it's so absurd. It's not believable for 1 second. Minor spoiler alert, not that it matters because none of this is in the book, but this is how the action scene ends. After all this ridiculous stuff, the dwarves somehow make a 50-foot tall golden statue of a dwarf. To which Smaug, could you do Smaug walking to the statue? He's like, what's this thing? No, it's a golden statue! Then, of course, I don't know, of course, it doesn't even make sense. The golden statue starts shooting gold out of its eyes, melts, and covers Smaug in gold or Velveeta. It looked like Velveeta.
For no.
Ta-da!
Oh, by the way, and for no reason.
For no reason.
Yeah, because then he just shakes it
Yeah.
off and flies away anyway, so it didn't even need to happen.
None of that had to happen. None of it had to happen. The only time the movie's decent is when it actually sticks to the book.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
That's so
Stick
weird.
to the
What a
book.
crazy idea. What a crazy idea. Giving people what they want to watch. But it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, why would you give people what they want to watch? Why would you let them see what they came to see? Yes. It's so mad. I haven't actually, in all honesty, I've been mad a lot of times this year, but this is one of the angriest I've ever been about a movie.
Yes. Feel that hate flow through you.
I was
I
livid.
wanted to take this opportunity to award you with the 2013 Hate Boner of the Year. I had the Hate Boner with me.
This one?
On the way to the studio, and I lost it.
Thank you for this hate
Yeah.
2013 hate
I would
bomb
like.
of the
Oh,
year.
we found it. Okay, that'll do.
I'd like to thank Peter Jackson and Weta and his producers and whoever the fuck Fran is.
Fran. Gotta thank Fran.
I'd like to thank them for completely selling out and becoming the very thing that nerds hate.
Yeah, we wanted to be covered in shit, and we appreciate you shitting on us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
It's kind of like when Sam Raimi made Spider-Man 3. But it's even more offensive because it's 3 Spider-Man 3s, and they're all based on a beloved book. So it's like twice or 7 times, I don't know, math, offensive. It's kind of funny because I went to Rotten Tomatoes, the site I love to hate, and it said, "Oh, it got 68% by the smart critics or whatever, the real critics," which that number usually goes down the longer the movie's out and more of them pour in. And it's funny, most of the ones they give a freshness rating to, if you read the little bit of text they have, it's actually pretty negative. They're saying a lot of the things I'm saying. It's just you can't believe it. It's not believable. There's no tension. So even though they like to give things a good tomato, in all honesty, I think a lot of those reviews are negative, and they just said they're positive because they are a sellout site. They take money from advertising for movies. That's why they keep giving all these movies inflated numbers. And if you notice, shitty movies are getting better and better scores. And if you look at the actual review, most of them aren't that positive. Sorry for that little rant there. That's because it's been something I had to get off my chest. Some critics gave this a good review, but I don't think they really gave it a good review. They gave it a good review compared to the last one, which is ridiculous. It's like someone coming to your house and shitting on your couch. But the next time they come over, they shit on your front porch. And you're like, oh, that's much better. At least they didn't shit on my couch. It's much better.
I gave them a good review for that. You did good. You did good.
It's not better. It's still someone shitting all over your stuff. Just like Peter Jackson shit all over this book.
Thanks, Peter.
And next time, we're going to watch 47 Bone-Ins, which I may not watch. My producer tells me that I'm a masochist for even considering watching that. So, yeah.
Keanu Reeves, he doesn't get my money.
No.
He does not get my money.
It looks
anymore.
awful. It looks completely awful.
Fuck that.
So maybe we'll see that, and maybe we won't until the next year. It's so easy not to try. If you never say hello, you will never say goodbye. Goodbye. Bye. Clean Yarborough. Pussy getter.